Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who has gotten tired of fostering dogs. He wants something a little more challenging, so he's taken to domesticating Wampa snow beasts. Mr. Drew Celestino.
Well, I look a little different than you might remember. In light of that,
we have had opportunity to encounter Wampa snow beasts and tauntauns such this past week here.
I had to sleep in one
Buffalo.
this week. It was rough.
Yeah, but once you kind of feng shui the organs, it's
Sure. I mean, and they don't smell as bad as Han made out.
You get used to it.
You get used to it. It's like it's barely there.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I always imagined it as a combination of burnt popcorn and burnt rubber.
I don't know how you got there, but I'll go with that.
I had vivid imagination as a child.
Now that we're on this topic very quickly, did it ever make you wonder? In canon now, traditionally,
Yes.
it's accepted that the lightsaber cauterizes wounds immediately, correct?
I guess.
And yet, in Star Wars, the first movie, when they lobbed off poor Baboon Man's arm through almost no fault of his own,
A lot of blood there.
A lot of blood there.
Yeah.
And then Han is able to cut open the tauntaun without it just immediately sealing itself shut.
Listen, as we discussed in our review
But yet,
of The
Luke's
Last
hand
Jedi,
doesn't bleed.
yeah, and listen,
Spoilers.
you just kind of go with it.
We just got to go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
You can't have like blood spewing everywhere.
No.
Star Wars, not Machete.
Just on the floor in the first movie before we really knew what any of this was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. How you doing, sir?
Okay. How are you?
I'm all right. Let's get to our opening statements. How was your week?
It's been all right. My voice is coming back pretty well. Still,
good.
The occasional squeak here or there. But all in all, not bad. So not a ton has been going on, but the relevant stuff is the relevant stuff. So we had some New Japan happenings in the last week, did we not?
We're going right into this, aren't we?
Why not? Let's not bury the lead. New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 12 on last Thursday. Oh boy, what a show.
I was here.
Excellent show.
Gave up X-Wing night for it.
Man, I'm honored. It was awesome. The highlights of the evening for sure were the 4-way for the Junior Heavyweight Championship between Marty Scurll, Kushida, Takahashi, and Will Ospreay. What a display of athleticism on all guys involved, especially Will Ospreay, who is
the high flyer.
The highest of flyers I've probably ever seen. Wow. Craziness. Absolute crazy. That guy's a lunatic. And he ate one of the most insane power bombs off of the ring down to the floor that I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I thought he died.
Yeah. There was a couple times throughout that event I was watching, I was, oh, well, he's clearly dead. Oh, look, he's moving. Good for him.
Strong style, sir. Strong style. It's not for the faint of heart. Excellent match. Then we had, of course, the probably in the Western eyes, the highlight of the evening, and that being Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega in a no disqualification match. Chris Jericho, 47 years old, I would not have expected him to be able to pull out a 30-plus minute match, and he did.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It wasn't the athletic contest that I expected from a Kenny Omega match, but they led into it that way, saying that it would not be that. Yeah. And as such, I thought it was great. It's fun to see Chris Jericho in an environment where he's trying again.
Yeah.
Then again, to be fair to Chris Jericho, even in WWE on his last run, he got over things that he had no business getting over, and he made things work that absolutely should not have worked. So Jericho despite maybe not being the greatest worker of all time, he's better than most, and I would put him in the upper tier of workers of all time. And he always finds a way to reinvent himself and get himself over. And once again, here he is in Japan for the first time in probably 20 years, and he's a whole different version of himself again, and healing it up to great effect. And it was fun. And Kenny was obviously Kenny.
Did he or did he not put the referee's son in the walls of Jericho because the referee kept threatening disqualification?
Yes, he did.
All right.
First, he threw the referee to the ground. Then his son, one of the young lions, he put him in the walls of Jericho, or the Lion Tamer, right in front of him, and yelled at him, "Look at your son!" Oh, it was glorious.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And the main event, that being Okada versus Naito. Crowd was hot for Naito.
Yeah, a lot of Americans in the crowd.
Yeah,
and you could tell the Americans in the crowd because
a lot of chants.
They were being American.
I wouldn't say they were being obnoxious fans. It was a louder, chantier crowd than I was used to hearing for a New Japan event.
Yeah,
but Naito was going to get chanted regardless. They really do. He's become a thing over there, which is why I guess I didn't spoil any of the finishes to these matches. I guess spoilers. I was shocked when Naito did not win.
Yeah, you were saying this was kind of his make or break.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, but, and this is where wrestling can break your heart, but then you kind of look at it again, and it's like, well, I get it. If he's that over without the title, does he need the title right now? And I would say, okay, maybe not. Yeah. Also, seeing as this was a lot of Westerners' eyes on the product for the first time, possibly as a result of the Jericho-Omega match selling to American fans in a big way.
Yep.
I think they wanted to highlight Okada say, hey, this might be the first time anyone sees Okada. Okada's the ace of the company. He is the stud of the whole company. He's put on more 5-star plus matches than anybody in the last year. Let's showcase Okada and show why he's legit. And obviously, Naito didn't look bad in defeat. Like he dominated large stretches of the match. It was a great match, physical contest, and Naito lost ultimately because he didn't embrace full Tranquilo.
What is Tranquilo?
Tranquilo is when he lays down in the ring and just kind of does that whole trip, or when he's slowly taking off his suit, making the other guy wait for him. Tranquilo is I don't care.
Okay.
So when he was kind of playing to the crowd, remember he kept going to the turnbuckles and he kept attempting to do the Stardust press, off the top rope, but he couldn't hit it.
Okay.
That was his old finisher from his pre-Tranquilo days. So in story, he kept trying to go back to what the crowd liked back then, and it didn't work. He should have stayed with what got him here, which was when he rejected all of them and just embraced who he is. Storytelling.
Would you say this year's was better than last year's?
That's a good question. Overall card, maybe. Just for the big matches were fun and big, but the main event maybe wasn't. I don't know. Naito Okada was great, but I liked seeing Kenny Omega in the main event. But I'm a Westerner, so I think I might be biased. I thought it was a great show.
I thought it was great too. I think the Kenny Okada match from last year was slightly better than the Naito Okada match.
You gotta understand that's such a high bar. Like honestly, I'm not even just that match.
Was it not a good Wrestle Kingdom to start with for myself for last year?
We set the bar very, very high. That Kenny Okada match was like that. The whole trilogy of matches they had in 2017 is like some of the best matches maybe ever, like in wrestling.
Yep.
So anything's going to be a bit of a step down. So you just got to kind of roll with it. The next night at New Year's Dash, where they kind of set up the feuds for the next few months.
Yeah,
we got some fun stuff coming up. We got some real fun stuff coming up. So Chris Jericho's not going away. He's sticking around.
Cool.
And he's going to feud with Naito.
Ooh.
It's fun. There's fun things happening. I'm okay with this. So yeah, that happened. It was great. New Japan is life, and I can no longer. So let's contrast real quickly then, shall we? I watched Monday Night Raw last night. Now I know I've been complaining about
why
we
You've said numerous times you're done with WWE. Yet
we do the
go back
3
and
hour.
watching them.
We do the 3 hour show in 1 hour, right?
But still,
here's the thing. There are elements to the show that are getting better. I'm not honestly, there are. But one area where I am done and I can't take it anymore, the camera work in WWE. It's terrible. It's so bad. They cut to different angles every nanosecond. I feel like I'm going to have a seizure. I got nauseous last night watching a match. Because every single move, every point of impact, every chance they get, they cut. Zoom, shaky cam, cut. It's nauseating, and your brain can't figure out who's where and what's happening.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It's kind of like that annoying flying cam they used on the Winter Classic.
It's worse. At least that was stationary to a degree. Like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Not to bury it, but dude, it's just disorienting. I got nauseous. I had to I literally was looking at the screen, and I did one of these blink and look aways. It hurt me.
Wow.
The cam work. Oh God, it's bad. It's just so bad.
Anyway, it's funny that you mentioned WWE. I just had a thought. I can't remember the last time you mentioned Shinsuke.
Yeah, because he's not doing anything of note there.
That's unfortunate.
He's getting paid, and I'm happy for him. He deserves the big payday. But man, I'm counting the days till he goes back home, because it's just he's just a guy. But then again, in WWE, everyone's just a guy. No one really shines. You're just a guy. So anyway, that was fun wrestling stuff this week. We had a little impromptu game day and birthday celebration for our friend Tim.
Yes.
On Saturday. That was a good time.
Yep.
We didn't get to finish the game, but we did play
Vikings Gone Wild.
Vikings Gone Wild. And I was getting into it right when we had to leave. I was starting to really feel the flow, and unfortunately we had to.
Doing the bowling dance, feeling the flow.
That's right.
Working it.
It's up and down and around. Circular. Anyway, so that was a good time. We went to Texas de Brazil after that for dinner. Oh, the meats.
So much meats there.
Alan and I both encountered the meat coma.
Yeah.
It was meat.
Yeah.
A lot of meat.
Meat coma is... It's tough because, when you go to, for lack of a better term, Texas de Brazil is a buffet. It's a buffet.
The buffet comes to you.
Yeah, it's a very high-end, classy buffet, but it's an all-you-can-eat thing. And typically with the buffet, the goal is to eat more than what you are paying for. That's a tall order at Texas de Brazil, because it's I think it's $50 a plate.
45, plus tax, and
after tax and tip, you're coming up around 60.
And ultimately, it's rough for me because as of New Year, it's going to sound cliche, but I'm trying to be better on the diet, and I'm exercising more in the last 2 weeks than I have in quite a little while. So I'm trying to behave myself, but I will say I must have gotten all my protein in on that day, because I ate a lot of meat, man. It was great. Then we had the Bills playoff game.
Yeah, that kind of went how I expected.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to win. I thought it was going to be a tight defensive game and nothing. The ending was kind of, disappointing the way it ended. Tyrod getting knocked down, then Peterman coming in and doing what's been dubbed the Peterman hat trick. Fumble, interception, and intentional grounding in 3 plays.
It's the Nate Peterman experience.
Yeah.
But to be fair though, they broke the drought, which is good. It gets the monkey off their back.
We got to the playoffs, man. Baby steps,
and it was like house money. Honestly, that game, I had no I did not expect them to get there, and the fact that they did, it's hey, go yay us.
I would even
So-
say that next year the next step would not even be winning a playoff game, but just having a good enough season that you get to the playoffs under your own volition.
Yeah,
You don't
right.
need help
yes.
getting in.
I don't want to have to, rely on Andy Dalton on the regular. Put
Yeah.
it that way. Anyway, that's the gist of my week, sir. How about you? How you doing?
Well, our weeks intersected a lot this week. Like you mentioned, Wrestle Kingdom, and then we had Tim's birthday party.
Yeah.
I can't make up my mind yet whether or not I like Vikings Gone Wild.
Okay.
I think what it boils down to is it's ultimately a deck building game,
Yep.
and given the presentation, because we were discussing the art style, because it's based on an app, a mobile app. Given choice between that and other deck builders, I would probably rather play other deck builders.
That's fair.
It's not horrible. I wouldn't be 100% adverse to playing it again.
Mhm.
It just wouldn't be my first choice. So, yeah, that was that. Then Saturday, didn't really do a lot Saturday, just kind of bummed around. Sunday was the game, and then Sunday night, Julie and I started the one Marvel film a week. They said there's this, maybe some of you saw it. There's a meme out there that says if you start in the first week of January, which if you're just listening to this, we're in the second week, so you got a little bit of catching up to do if you want to do this. If you watch one Marvel film a week, you will have gotten through them all on the week that Infinity War comes out. So I think that's a neat little thing to do to kind of revisit the films leading up to what is probably going to be a lot of closure happening in Infinity War. So we watched Iron Man. That movie is still fantastic. It's still in the top 5.
Now that you've seen
Marvel
it in
films.
hindsight, how does it play? Now knowing what we know now about the universe and how, this is the one they kind of where it all began.
It's
in a way.
still
So how
it's
does
still
it,
fantastic. It's still it's in that early mold of Marvel films where they're you can't even say the early mold of Marvel films kind of is post Iron Man going forward is, okay, we know we can build towards something.
Yeah.
So this movie is self-contained in and of itself, but builds towards, lays brickwork for things happening in the future.
Okay.
Whereas now they kind of tend to be more big world. You don't get the kind of self-contained film as much anymore.
True.
But really the only thing that kind of took me out of the movie was Terrence Howard as Rhodey. Because Don Cheadle's Rhodey now. That's what it is.
yes.
And it's funny because Don Cheadle's such a superior Rhodey.
Is he?
Yeah.
I haven't
he
watched.
is.
I haven't done the roadie comparison, but
He's the superior Rhodey.
okay.
Yeah.
Did we not like Terrence Howard?
It's not, we liked him at the time, and he was okay, but Don Cheadle's Rhodey just brings a certain level to it
okay.
that
All right.
I feel Terrence Howard doing the character, going back and revisiting the film, was a little too muted, little too, I don't know.
Interesting.
There's just something that's not there that's there with Don Cheadle's performance.
Okay.
I think I buy Don Cheadle I buy Cheadle's Rhodey and Stark as friends more than I buy Terrence Howard's Rhodey
Okay.
as friends. So,
Interesting.
but yeah, it was cool and great just watching that post-credits stinger again. That the first one, the one that really, it's the moment where everything started.
Yep. I
It's
still remember.
Still, just I was thinking back, just sitting there in the theater, jaw on the floor.
And the funny thing is, I didn't know that there was. Well, correction. All I knew was that everyone said you have to stay after the credits.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know why. And as soon as Nick Fury shows up and drops the Avengers word, I just remember sitting in the theater being like, what is happening?
even then we're like, there's no way. No, they can't.
They can't do
No,
that.
they can't. Now we're like, so when's this going to happen?
Yeah, right. We got a Howard the Duck post credits stinger. That's how far around we've come.
That is the one thing I will say that has kind of declined in quality in the Marvel films is the stingers.
Well,
at some point they went. I think it started with Iron Man 3. Actually, they started going more comedic than kind of being a
the big
to
build.
be continued thing.
Yeah. I feel you. But they also do multiples now too, like the mid credit, then the end credit, and they serve two masters kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Sunday night. This week will be the Incredible Hulk, the forgotten stepchild of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is really unfortunate because it's a good movie.
It's fine. It's forgotten, but it is referenced frequently.
Yeah, is it though?
Well,
it's had two. I was thinking about this
when
I was thinking about what there's two references that I can think of that they've made. The biggest one, obviously, being Ross in Civil War.
Right. Ross shows back up.
Yeah. The second one is just a throwaway line from Ruffalo. I think it was in Avengers, saying the last time he was in Brooklyn, he broke it.
Yeah, Harlem. He broke Harlem. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it's like really not. It's
what's really there to reference? Not much.
I mean, I get it, and it's unfortunate that we're probably not going to get another Hulk solo film anytime soon. Which I think, now that you finally let the Hulk talk in like Thor Ragnarok, I think a Hulk solo film works better. But ultimately, I think the best thing they could do for a Hulk solo film, I've said this before, is do Grey Hulk, do Joe Fixit.
I think it would be fun, but I would have a real hard time. I think they would have a hard time selling it to the public. Like, here's this movie where there's the Hulk, but he's gray and he's working in Vegas, and everyone just goes with it.
True. They've sold us a talking raccoon with a machine gun with a walking, talking tree bodyguard. They've sold us the Hulk just randomly showing up on a planet.
But that's an alien
ship
thing.
Go through hole, crash. That was our explanation.
I know, but you're talking about a gray Hulk on Earth working at a casino. I don't know.
You don't start the movie there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Like, you give it a little bit of time to get there, but yeah, I don't think they'll have a problem selling that.
All right, Lucas disagrees.
Come on, just picture seeing the Hulk in the pinstripe suit.
Oh yeah,
fedora.
That Wolverine shows up.
Ooh.
See.
See.
Now that movie I want to see.
Hey, Marvel, you know how you're thinking of a way he can introduce the.
Do you know what I would give? Just as an aside. Do you know what
that
I would
work
give?
So well.
I would give almost anything just to have the cinematic moment.
The McFarlane
cover with the claws and the Hulk reflected in the claw. I would give almost anything for them to do that, because that's the kind of thing they would do, and it would be glorious.
Yep.
I'd lose my mind.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Could happen.
You know what? We're like...
You know what else?
We've come from a point from the first Iron Man movie where we're like, there's no way they can do that. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not saying, I will say, unlikely. I will never say impossible.
Fair enough. But you know what else is part and parcel of that cover, though, that they have to embrace? And this is what I hope in the next phase or whatever, we gotta recommit ourselves to. Costumes.
Yeah.
I get that they don't, they play a little loose and fast with reality, and some guys are more straight than others, and like, why would Hawkeye wear this goofy outfit? But you know what? Because he's an Avenger and he wants to wear a goofy outfit.
Yeah. I think I would really like to see the classic brown and orange
Wolverine.
I've always said that is superior to the yellow and blue.
I like the yellow and blue. But either way, if classic Wolvie shows up on screen with the mask on, I'm losing my mind.
I think, well, obviously I would too. I think the brown and orange can work better in a more realistic interpretation
Okay.
than the yellow and blue can. Because with yellow and blue, you have to mute the colors more, and then it doesn't work as much.
Yeah, I suppose.
So
I don't know.
That's just me.
All right.
All right. So
Yes.
that is our weeks. Dear listeners, if you would like to tell us about your weeks, if you'd like to send us any questions or comments to the show, you can find us at the following social media locations. You can go on Twitter and follow us at Devils Do Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. Drew, that being said, we've got some questions this week, so it's time to move on to cross-examination.
All right.
All right, first email comes from our friend from Staten Island, Mr. Emmanuel Marin, who is graciously not gloating about his Rangers beating our Sabres in the Winter Classic.
I wouldn't gloat either. These should beat the Sabres.
Well, yeah. I mean, Sabres are dumpster fire. Dear Carl and Drew, hope you guys have thawed out up there. We've had a bit of a heat wave the past 2 days.
It's supposed to be 50 this week.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be, I think it's tomorrow it's supposed to be 50.
Yeah. That's
Friday, foot of snow.
Well, poo.
8 to 12 inches.
Well, at least it's on the weekend where I can hunker down and snow blow, I guess.
You mean for a change? I walked up your driveway. There wasn't much snow blowing.
It's going to thaw this week. I'm not going out there.
Yeah, but no,
It's a waste of time.
That's why you go out there now, get it down as low as you can.
It's
because
gonna
when
be-
we get to 8 to 12 inches, it's not compacting on what's
There will
get down to pavement.
It's going to be gone tomorrow. Yeah, trust me.
All right, I hope so. Okay, at Drew,
At me.
at you. Manny says he'll take a 2XL. Man, you guys' merch selection kind of bites.
Well, the demand isn't exactly strong, so we don't stock a lot.
Valid.
I think I'm sold out of 2Xs. I'm sorry.
All right. But Manny, will you take a pick? Will you take a guitar pick? You play guitar,
Hit
Manny.
the treadmill. I'll send you the XL.
Oh, snap.
I'm just offering alternatives is all.
Okay.
It's not meant as an insult. That's just,
No, it's-
I'm
I'm
trying to make this work.
Carl.
Wait, what happened to me?
That was, he didn't have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, it was a question for both of us. So,
No, go to you.
how have William's drumming skills developed? See, Manny sent William a drum for Christmas.
Yeah.
Manny and I go back a long ways, and I'm not going to lie. I might have pulled some shenanigans when his daughter was born and sent...
So wait, it's your daughter?
No.
Oh, jeez.
No, his daughter.
Yeah, I know, but the way you said that was like ominous.
No.
Surprise, Manny. You didn't know?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
His daughter, my goddaughter.
Gotcha.
We both share a December 15th birthday. When she was young, I may have sent her some Christmas toys whose sole purpose was, I mean, not as much for her enjoyment, but more to annoy
You
Manny.
evil person, you.
Yeah. And Manny's trying to get revenge by sending Bill a drum. What Manny doesn't realize is I grew up playing video games.
Yeah.
I'm used to repetitive noises for hours on end. I'm used to rage-inducing things because I've played Ghosts and Goblins on Nintendo.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, that's what more needs to be said.
Battletoads, Battle Scars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Manny's plan of annoyance may have possibly backfired, but William does in fact love his drum and plays it regularly.
If he can play the drums, he's going to be very popular for the rest of his life. I'm serious.
Cool.
You're a drummer in this town, you can get any band you want. There is demand, son.
Okay, so question for both of us. I know I'm behind the rest of the world, but I just learned of Brian Michael Bendis moving over to DC. How does this affect the work he was starting on a Punisher book? And any feedback on what you would like to see him do at DC? That's all from me. Drink your Zima and stay warm up there.
Zima. Come on now.
Was Bendis working on a Punisher book?
Allegedly, but I don't think it ever got past the initial kind of pitch stage. So, yeah, not to be. Bendis has said that everything that he was working on at Marvel will be completed and is his final word, and he didn't have to rush finishing any of it. It's all done as designed. So that's that. There goes that. What do I want to see him work on at DC? Well, it's a tough call. I mean, being a Daredevil fanatic that I am, the Bendis Malieve run is my top tier run on the character. It's my favorite version. It's my favorite iteration. So I guess I would say that a street level kind of book would be fun for Bendis over there. And that's not necessarily Batman. It might be. I don't really know who are their more street guys.
I think all their street guys.
They're all Gothamites, aren't they?
Bat family.
Yeah, I don't know then.
It's maybe like a Nightwing book or.
Nightwing could be fun. Sure, yeah, I could see that. Something like that. Can they bring back Gotham PD or whatever it was called?
Don't see why not.
I don't know, but I that would be kind of treading in familiar territory.
Yeah, GCPD.
Yeah, I don't know, and I guess it's kind of a considering all the other things that Bendis did at Marvel, like he did the Avengers, he did the X-Men, he did all these big, superhero-y kind of things. So why do I want to limit him to the street level stuff? I don't know. I feel like his sensibilities just lend themselves more to less action and more character-based kind of things.
Yep.
So that's kind of the direction I would go.
I would like to see. I think we've kind of discussed this before. I would like to see him on one of two books, neither of which I think will happen. The first one being The Question.
Yep.
I would love to see a resurgence of The Question. More Vic Savage than Renee Montoya Question.
I think Bendis would do the opposite, to be honest with you.
Probably. Or a Shazam book.
That could be fun.
Yeah. I would love to see Shazam get his own book again, but once again, never going to happen because...
never say never.
Well, DC...
If this movie happens, which it apparently is, I know we're shaking our heads like, really? But they casted it, and they're still, allegedly they're filming in Toronto now.
Okay. All right.
So if that thing takes off, there's a market there, and let's get a Shazam book out. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Oh, man.
And if The Rock's in it, then all bets are off.
In the current tone of the DC cinematic universe,
forget about that.
Does Shazam work?
No, and honestly, they've already said. Well, we'll get to that in the news, I would assume. They got a new boss over there, right? At DC.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did we talk about that last week? I don't recall.
I think we did.
We did. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
I don't think they care about continuity anymore. I think they're just I think they're ditching the universe aspect to all this, and they're just gonna do movies with their characters, and they're gonna tell the creative teams, "Hey, do what you want. We're not gonna hamper you with, the limitations of what's got to fit where. Do your thing, and if they want to do another Justice League down the road, they'll figure out a way to make it work." I don't think they're gonna do another Justice League down the road.
Yeah,
I think it's over.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wouldn't worry about Shazam. I think they're just going to do what they're going to do, and they're not going to care. Don't worry about whatever David Ayer is doing with Suicide Squad 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Now with more orcs.
What?
And Will Smith. David
are you talking about that? The Bright?
Same director. So
yeah,
I'm not watching that movie.
I you know what? I just
don't. And for any of you out there, don't be emailing me telling me it's good, because I know it ain't.
I saw the preview and I'm just like, I can see why some people would watch this movie. It's just not really doing anything for me. So
if I'm the executive,
it's a pass for me.
And you come into my office with that pitch, get out.
Well, see,
get out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
get out of my office.
If you look at it on paper, you're just kind of like, eh. But like I mentioned with Suicide Squad, the characters were fun to watch and interesting. It's just the movie they were in was hot garbage. So
Fair.
who
Anyway,
knows? Yeah.
didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. Sorry.
Yeah, just
Sorry.
you know.
What were we talking about?
Shazam. Yeah, Shazam.
Okay.
All right. Now on to the absentee ballads of Wrestle Kingdom of the Devil's Due podcast.
Oh, he just unsubscribed.
Well, both of them.
Double O.
Neither one of them showed up for Wrestle Kingdom.
You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot. One was more egregious by his absence than the other. But still, wow. Yeah, you're right. Oof.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Neither one of them.
Go on.
Mr. Alan Waiters and Mr. J. Gelsomino. We will start with Mr. Alan Waiters. Carl and Drew. Would you prefer to see a Savage Land story or an Omega Red story for a Marvel's X-Men movie?
Ooh.
Who would you want to play Kazar? Alan loves X-Men.
He does.
And
he
really
does.
wants us
I
to
admire
talk
that.
about X-Men a lot.
I admire that. I wish.
And
I
he loves
wish
he loves good X-Men.
Yeah. No.
He's not like trying to force new stuff down our throats.
I've never the Savage Land as a concept is neat, but I don't
but
know.
ultimately it just comes down to X-Men and Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and I think
And
we've
I
got
don't-
our quotient there.
I think you could have a couple moments in that, but ultimately it just
Yeah. Give me Omega Red, I say.
See, I don't think Omega Red works in a team film. If you want to do Omega Red in a Wolverine film, I'm down with that.
Okay.
I'm totally fine with that. Kazar, I don't have enough experience with the character to really make an informed decision.
Who's got the best abs and can wear a loincloth? Long blonde hair, a plus.
I
I don't know either. I'm just saying, those are your qualifications.
don't know. Also, I don't know.
That's my casting call right there. Long blonde hair, abs.
I think if
Male.
if you wanted to put Omega Red in an X-Men team movie, I think he works as a B villain, not
Not the main villain.
henchman, but second in command.
Sure.
To Mr. Sinister or something like that.
Sure.
He could work like that. Not Magneto. Tired of Magneto versus X-Men because
Yeah.
every X-Men movie
Yeah.
is Magneto versus X-Men.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to start talking about what they're going to do for the new
Yep.
X-Men movie.
Yep.
It's going to happen when
And
Marvel
We're going to get to that
officially
point in news too.
Okay, let's moving on.
Drew,
Yeah.
if you can do a New Japan versus Lucha Underground pay-per-view.
Salivating. Yeah.
Who would be your main eventers? Who would face Kenny Omega from Lucha? Rey Mysterio?
No.
Prince Puma?
No.
Really? Not Prince Puma?
Nope. Because he was over there anyway. Ricochet was in New Japan, and I didn't want to see him go up against Kenny Omega. Granted, it's not Prince Puma, but yeah. Who could face Kenny? I would like to see Pentagon versus Kenny Omega.
See, now granted, I haven't seen the most recent season of Lucha Underground. Pentagon, while great, is still B tier character. So if that changes in season 3,
it does.
then
Yeah,
okay.
it does. Yeah, Pentagon levels up. What shall we say? So I'd go Pentagon versus Kenny Omega. For the title, you know what I want to see?
What?
Johnny Mundo versus Okada
Ooh.
for the title. I want Johnny Mundo to be honest. Now that his Lucha status is nebulous for the next season.
Yeah.
God, I want him to go to Japan so bad. I think he would tear it up over there.
Yeah, he's a high flying performer.
He's fantastic. I did not like him at all in WWE. In Lucha Underground, I think Johnny Mundo is fantastic. That guy's excellent. I would love to see him in Japan for the title against Okada. Big Hoss fight. I want Mil Muertes versus Ishii. They might kill each other. It would be great though if they did.
Who are you putting Cage up against? Because I know you're a big Cage fan.
Again, I want a Hoss fight here, but there's only so many Hosses they have over there, so he might have to go up against Goto because Goto's like he's kind of thick looking. It's tough though. That's a tough one. I'm struggling with Cage because I love Cage, but who do you put up against Cage? He's not a man. He's a machine, and he'll be in Buffalo in like a week.
Who do the Young Bucks go against?
Oh, sir. My dream match: Young Bucks versus Son of Havoc and Angelico.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And give them things to jump off of.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep. Angelico with his tiger knee.
Oh man. Give them a very high platform above the ring for Angelico to do something insane off of, and I will be a happy camper. Yeah, that'd be fun. This would be a lot of fun. Why can't this really happen? Anyway.
All right. Well, Alan.
Alan, you got my brain all Twitter.
All Twitter. Okay. So Alan actually had 2 questions for me this week.
Okay.
The first one I'll actually just get to really quickly because he sent to our group chat. So he asked me he sent us like a picture and said, what is the most shocking moment from the DC animated universe? So we're talking about like the Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, Batman Beyond. That's the Bruce Timm Paul Dini verse, more or less. And the selections are The Flash apparently dying. Remember when we like got going really fast, taking out Lex Luthor as Brainiac? You should really revisit that series.
I might have to. It's a little foggy.
If anything, that would rekindle your love of those characters. That was good. I don't think it's most shocking. Aquaman cutting off his own hand. Impressive that they did that in a cartoon series.
It's kind of like the dude takes a spear to the heart kind of moment.
Yeah. Batgirl dying, that doesn't qualify for me because it was a hallucination.
Still kind of shocking, though.
Yeah, still probably in my top 5 episodes of the animated series. Dick Grayson quitting as Robin. Good episode. The way he quit was really cool. But the last 2 are definitely where the debate lies. First one is Tim Drake being infected and converted by the Joker in the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker movie.
Yes, I know. I know of this.
Did you ever see the movie?
No.
Oh, sir.
But I heard the plot and I was just like, oh no.
You hear it and you're like, oh no, but you see an execution, it's like, oh jeez.
Yeah, I'm gonna be blunt. I don't care about Batman Beyond at all.
It's not the best of the Paul Dini Bruce Timm work, but it's not as bad as a lot of people say it is. Its weak point is its villains.
I'm just not. If I want Spider-Man, I'll go read Spider-Man. Like
the last one, which I think is probably the winner, is Dan Turpin getting murdered by Darkseid as he's leaving in Superman the Animated Series.
Wow.
Which, for me, that wins because it shows on screen like a main character getting killed. And then Superman just loses it. And Darkseid's gone, so Superman just beats up on a tank, like an apocalypse tank that was left behind, and like real emotion coming out. Probably one of the most emotional moments of the DC animated stuff. And especially when they do the funeral after, and you see his tombstone as a world's greatest hero for Dan Turpin. And it's also kind of bittersweet because like they modeled Dan Turpin after Jack Kirby in that series. So yeah, that was definitely that one, of those nominations, that was definitely Yeah. So yeah, that was Alan's first question for me. Alan's second question for me. This one's going to be a hard one to answer just because I don't think I'm really qualified to answer this question. Who do you think had a bigger impact for African Americans in comics? Black Panther, Black Lightning, Storm, Luke Cage, or Spawn?
Wow.
I'll say Spawn's not in this conversation.
No.
Only because of the legacy of all these other characters.
True. I just know Spawn had a moment in the 90s, and I kind of felt it culturally. Like I was aware of his popularity, but you're right. Given the roster here, given the field.
Yeah, but when you think of Spawn,
yeah,
does the fact that he's an African American spring to mind?
Not really.
See,
you're right. I mean, it's a cool trivia bit, but like he's got a mask on, and
yeah,
and not.
And I guess at some point he was like reincarnated white.
It's nebulous, but yeah. He also had a football face for a while.
Yeah, because of Batarang.
Something like that.
No, it was literally like, give Todd McFarlane credit. He incorporated something that happened
in a crossover.
And his crossover with Frank Miller, the Batman Spawn crossover, because I think that was before Dark Knight Strikes Again.
It was before Frank Miller lost his mind?
Yeah, that might be the last great Frank Miller story. And even that, like, great
air quoting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. And at the end of it, Batman just chucks a Batarang and nails Spawn right in the face, and Spawn just smiles at him. So that's why he's got that stitch going down the middle of his face.
Gotcha. So who do we have again here?
Black Panther.
This is your question. But...
Black Lightning, Storm, or Luke Cage? I think it's got to come down between Black Panther and Luke Cage.
Oh, I would disagree. Actually, Storm was big, and I think you're underselling Black Lightning here. To be honest with you, I don't know. My impression of Black Lightning, I know he's like a C-list guy, but as a kid, I was just aware of him, and I felt like he was kind of a big deal in the African American community for some reason. I don't know. He just seemed to have a resonance.
Yeah, I mean,
I could be completely off base.
Getting his own television show, which is kind of cool,
right? That's happening now. Luke Cage, the thing with Luke Cage is he had those eras where he just wasn't popular. So I don't know how.
Yeah, but I think you have to look. Like when I'm thinking about this conversation, I'm thinking about the inception of the characters, because you have two ends of the spectrum with Black Panther and Luke Cage. You kind of have, and again, this is just like
we're two white guys here.
Yeah, we're two white guys talking about this. I am not qualified to talk about this, but Alan asked a question. I'm going to do my best to answer it. I think you have Luke Cage, who kind of represents where African Americans were in America at the time he was created.
He's a product of the blaxploitation kind of character, yeah.
And then you have Black Panther, which is, for lack of a much better term, the optimized
he comes
perspective of what it was like. Stanley and Jack Kirby looking at a character and saying, let's make an African American character who's not from this like quote unquote ghetto background.
Total opposite.
But like bring him to have him come from Africa and be
technologically sound, a genius, a king, regal. Yeah, he subverts a lot of for lack of a better term, tropes.
Yeah.
Given that criteria, I think I could get behind Black Panther as being the most relevant over time.
But then you have Storm.
Storm was also huge too, man.
Who's not only positive as an African American influence, but a woman, a strong woman.
And in the 80s, man, she was big. Like,
yeah.
It's weird.
80s and 90s.
You know what's weird to me? You're right. Like, her popularity now seems to just be like, like whatever. She's like an afterthought. But like, I remember when Storm was like a thing. Like, she was very popular.
Yeah.
Very popular.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter. She's like one of the Marvel vs. Capcom. She's a staple top tier character.
I think it also helps that she had a really boss costume.
Couple of them.
Quite a few, actually. Yeah. But either way, hey, it worked.
I think she's
it resonated.
An extremely strong character. You know what? I can't make a call on this because
it's tough.
You've got like three really solid and such different characters.
Tough call. Not for us to answer.
Yeah. So, but good conversation to have.
They're all good though.
Yeah.
That's strong.
All right, Alan. Thank you very much for your questions. On to Mr. JGL Semino. Drew and
Who?
JGL Semino.
Oh, right. Sorry, I wasn't here, so I forgot.
Oh God!
I kid. I saw him the next day. It was great.
Just got colder in here.
We watched New Year's Dash together. It was awesome.
We're getting a repeat, first time ever, a repeat question.
Oh,
from a different listener.
Wow.
With Bendis taking over things at DC, what would you like to see him tackle?
We already, yeah.
Yep.
Moving on. Thank you.
Question for me, Carl. My apologies for missing watching Wrestle Kingdom 12 with you guys. What were your favorite parts? Do you finally understand everyone's fear of Minoru Suzuki? Which one was he again?
The guy with the hair had to buzz his head after the match.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get that. That was probably my favorite match.
Really?
Yeah.
The match with Suzuki and Goto?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
they had some fun spots. He kicked Goto in the face.
Like, I legitimately thought this guy was paralyzed early on in the match when he did like that hangman thing.
Yeah.
And like they stopped the match for, it seemed like 5 minutes. And his eyes were doing the twitchy thing and whatnot. I was like, if this is legitimate, you guys got me. That's pretty good. So yeah, but yes, I do understand the fear now. Yeah, that was probably my favorite match. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Kenny Omega.
That's cool. I like that you have a kind of a deep cut favorite on that card.
Just for a promotion that's known for its athleticism and like high flying and just the sheer brutality of it while still maintaining the technicality.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I would actually argue that that's more of New Japan's signature than the high flying. The high flying is more of a newer thing. And Kenny kind of combines the best of both.
Yeah.
He's a high flyer, but he's also he works snug and he lays it in and he makes everything look good. Suzuki is old school though. He ain't got time for your flippy stuff. So he's just gonna murder you.
He did have dainty little shoes though.
The shoes took me a while to get used to. Now though I see him, I'm like, I'm not gonna tell him that they look weird.
Oh, I'm not gonna tell him they look weird either. But when I know he's out of earshot, I'm going to say they're dainty little shoes.
He'll put that dainty shoe.
Oh, I know. If anyone told him I said it and he comes looking for me, I'm telling him you said it.
There you go.
All right, Drew.
Yes.
What is the next Switch game you would like to see from an older IP?
Ooh.
For those of you who don't know, IP stands for intellectual property.
Well, I'm assuming he means like an older Nintendo property.
You just said older IP, so it can probably be anything.
It could be. You know what would be? You know what we're ripe for?
What's up?
But again, the company is dead to the world now in the world of video games.
So Konami?
Yep. How'd you know? Contra. We could, on the Switch, it's like a no-brainer.
Yep.
We could be living in a Contra renaissance right now. And everything old is new again, and it would be glorious. But Konami. Of course, this is where someone with a deeper knowledge of video games is going to email the show and say, but that's a genre now called bullet hell, and there's all these other different kind of side-scrolling games that were influenced by Contra, and they're all really good. You should try them. And I'm sure they are. But Contra just rings. It warms the cockles.
Yeah, Contra's great, but for me, the apex of that was always Metal Slug.
Okay, see what I mean? Like that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there's other games that kind of do that, so maybe Contra's the wrong answer. If we're deep cutting Nintendo franchises, man, an F-Zero game would be really, really nice.
Yeah, F-Zero. I'm always up for another Punch-Out game, but I'd really want them to.
How do you change it?
Try something new with the franchise. Because I played the last one they came out with for the Wii.
I love that one.
It was fine, but it's basically just the first one rehashed.
Yes.
It's like, it's pattern recognition and timing.
But that's kind of Punch-Out. You know what? To be honest, I played Super Punch-Out. I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't like stuff that's different.
We've established this. No, but I think, like, especially now with the Switch, when they've established with Breath of the Wild that they are willing to reinvent and do new things.
I know Star Fox, the one on Wii U, kind of crapped the bed, and no one really liked it. So maybe a truly great Star Fox game could be good on Switch. Like I said, F-Zero would be cool. Pilot Wings is criminally missing from the lineup. I
don't think that's criminal.
I think it'd be a fun.
I think Pilot Wings was, to me at least, I understand you hold it in higher esteem. To me, it was kind of a glorified tech demo.
But what a tech demo!
It was kind of the N64's version of Wii Sports or 1-2 Switch.
That's 64. I'm talking about the Super Nintendo version, man.
Oh yeah, the Super Nintendo version.
There were two, but that 64 one was the last one they made. That's a long time.
Yeah,
ago.
probably for a reason.
Come on, it's time.
Flying through a ring it gets boring after a while.
We can spice it up. That'd be nice. Kid Icarus seems to just have vanished from.
Yeah,
he had a little.
He made
3DS.
a big comeback in Smash Brothers, and people were all excited about seeing him. Then he got a game for 3DS, and that was it.
Maybe there's some fertile ground there. Maybe.
Is Kid Icarus like the original game? Is it good? Like legitimately good, or is it good through the rose-colored goggles of youth?
It's good.
Because I remember it was like not a launch game for Nintendo, but not too far afterwards.
It's an early game. It's good. It's just not as... You know what? It's good, but it's not as good as its brethren.
People remember it.
Well, no, not so much that, but it's like... It's a good game, but in the company of Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, how good is it? You know what I mean? It kind of got forgotten, and then here we are.
You know what I'd like to see make come back on Switch? They're both basically the same genre, but I'll take either one. River City Ransom or Double Dragon.
Yeah. A good beat 'em up period I'd like on the Switch.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject, now it's come to me, and I've wanted this for years, Carl.
Okay.
And I don't know if this can work in 2018. Maybe it's passé, but I think it could, and I think it'd be fun. At least I do, anyway. I want a Mortal Kombat game done in the traditional 2D style with digitized graphics, with all of the frills we can put in such a game in 2018. So high-resolution sprites with actors, with as many frames of animation as you can squeeze into gigabytes of data that we have available to us now, with a really boss Dan Forden soundtrack, a la MK2, MK3 era quality composition, because those soundtracks rule hard, and all of the kind of gameplay style with refinements to make it more balanced and more fun, but with that presentation, with a realistic presentation. I don't know if anyone's tried it before. If not, I don't know why not. I feel like it could be done, and it could be so cool.
There were rumors going around time of, I think it was MK9, that NetherRealm was looking at one of two things. One of which was MK9.
Yep, which they did, which was great, by the way.
Revitalized.
I love that game.
Not only revitalized the franchise, but was the first Mortal Kombat game to get recognized in tournament play. Yeah, like legitimate tournament play.
It reinvented the whole thing, but it did. It was a great game.
But the other thing I guess they were thinking of doing was like a MK1 high def remix.
Yeah.
Sort of like what Street Fighter did.
Yeah.
But kind of along the lines of what you were talking about.
They were gonna. I know. I heard about that. They were gonna make all new costumes, and they were gonna do the graph. Oh,
and I think that at that time they made the right decision.
Yeah,
because MK9 did much more for the franchise.
Not just the franchise, NetherRealm. Period.
Yeah, NetherRealm. I think just a rehash of MK1
wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I think now you revisit that idea. I think it's a really fun thing, but definitely
I'd love it.
Throw some refinements in there, because Mortal Kombat 1, you take the gore out and it's a terrible game. It is not a good fighting game, even by the standards back then.
It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. I would enjoy it. Like, I had the Super Nintendo version. There was no blood. I still enjoyed it. It was fun to play. I was good at it. But I hear what you're saying. It is a shell. I think what you do there is, if you're going to do that remaster, you don't just do one. You do 1 through 3, and then include 1 on there. But everyone's
typically,
really playing
like,
for 2 and 3. You know what I mean?
You do 1, see how 1 sells, and then you kind of...
I say you just do a collection. You do 1 through 3.
I'm surprised to hear you say 3 because you don't like 3 very much.
3's where things started to go south, but it's still a quality
I
entry.
say the exact opposite. I think 3's where they improved significantly on the mechanics and made it more of a legit fighter. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying 2's not good. 2 is legendary. But ultimately, like when you just look at it as a fighting game and break it down, it's got a lot of problems. Like when Sonya uppercuts me and it does the same amount of damage than when
Sonya's
Jax, you know what I'm saying? When Jax uppercuts me, no.
That's a fair complaint, but that was still the case in 3.
And everyone's got like the same
core moves.
Base moves.
Yes, and I hear what you're saying, but that's also the case in 3. And from a presentation standpoint, I just feel like 3 is where it kind of went off the rails.
3, they introduced like a legit combo system.
Yes, which fair enough. It's the tap combos. I've of mixed feels about them, but in any case, my biggest problem with 3 was the presentation. It got goofy and corny.
Yeah,
2 had an aura of serious. Even though 2 was goofy and corny too, it just had a more seriousness about it.
Oh yeah, Babe-ality's real serious.
I know. No, I know.
Dropping an arcade machine on someone is a fatality. That's serious.
I know how ridiculous it sounds. Believe me. 2 just had a darker, more. It was more.
No, I get
it was cooler.
Yeah.
And then 3, we had futuristic stuff, and some of the fatalities were super cornball, and it just kind of got over the top. Like Mortal Kombat's already over the top.
Yeah.
3 just said like, whatever, man. Like it got a little too nutty. Like Mortal Kombat 2 was, we're at the party and we've had a few drinks and we're having a good time. Mortal Kombat 3 was like, we're lit, we don't care.
Someone passed the cocaine.
Kind of like that, and that's where I was kind of like, guys, maybe we could come back to just having a good time.
I like 3. 3's probably my favorite of the series. It's funny now because like NetherRealm has Mortal Kombat and Injustice, and it appears that Injustice is kind of the testing grounds now for the things they're going to introduce in the next Mortal Kombat.
Interesting.
Like when Injustice 1 came out, they had like the environment interactables. Like you hit someone with a car from the background or use something from background in the fight. Then they introduced that in Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10. So now in the latest Injustice, they introduced gear, like different costumes do different things and whatnot. So I'm wondering how. But what I like that they did is like you can turn that off, so that's just a cosmetic appearance.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm wondering how they're going to incorporate that in Mortal Kombat 2. I will say one thing. Mortal Kombat is wing at high and above any other fighting game out there is guest characters.
Yeah.
They're killing it in guest characters.
They have fun with that.
Like guest characters really want me, like really... They had the Predator in there, man. I was like, oh, God, I kind of want to get this
Voorhees
game.
Showed
Yeah,
up?
Jason.
Oh, Jesus, that's nuts.
Leatherface, Xenomorph. It's just, it was crazy. And now they got an Injustice, freaking Ninja Turtles are going to be in there. And the thought is that you don't pick one turtle, you pick the turtles. And they all fight as one. And it's funny because we're kind of seeing that in the new Dragon Ball Z game that's coming out, Dragon Ball Z fighting game. You never watched Dragon Ball, did you?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, kids.
Lost
on me.
In Dragon Ball Z, there was this like team of fighters called the Ginyu Force. And the leader of the team was Captain Ginyu. Captain Ginyu is a character in Dragon Ball Z fighter game. And for his special moves, another member of the Force will come in and do an attack. So I'm thinking that's kind of going to be like what the Turtles are going to be. But they kind of look like the Turtles from the live action movie. Like the old one, the good one.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what NetherRealm's going to do with that.
Cool. How do we get on this topic again? Oh, yeah, old video games we want to see on Switch.
Yeah.
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 There you go. We gave you a whole bunch there.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Good
that.
times. Thanks for your questions, Jay. All right. Cross-examination is done. Let's get on to our case files, news of the week. Fortunately, it's kind of a light week. Don't have a ton going on. Just breaking today, actually, Ryan Coogler, director and I think co-writer of Black Panther film.
And Creed.
And Creed. Oh, Creed. So good. I'm really scared of what the second Creed movie
You should be.
Because it's...
Did you hear the concept?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and Stallonify this by about 80%.
Yeah, that's not good. Anyway, but Ryan Coogler is going to be writing Black Panther comics. Now, this is in juxtaposition, and we're going to kind of bundle these stories together. This is in juxtaposition to our other story, which reports that Marvel is looking beyond our shores.
Oh, they have been for years.
For creative talent.
Yeah.
Now, I want to preface this by saying it's not that we don't think there are creative people beyond America.
No, because they're clearly...
Obviously, there are.
There's a lot.
But there's one way of doing it. There's a way we kind of interpret Marvel doing this is like, you know, if you go overseas, it's kind of like the reverse of outsourcing.
Let me be blunt. They're not doing it to be progressive and like, hey, we're going to find talent that no one's ever heard of before because we're good folk. No.
Cheap.
You're doing it because they'll work for nothing. Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
I know how you operate. And when's the last time you saw a Marvel, what are they calling this thing? Like a Marvel, it's like what are they calling it? A creative
legacy?
No, it's like Marvel Creative Summit, like a camp days.
Yeah.
But they're giving this little offshore event a name.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you saw one of those in the States or Canada or something?
Yeah.
They don't just take open submissions here. You know what I mean? Like,
we're not against looking elsewhere for creative talent. What we're questioning is Marvel's motivation.
I know their motivations. And you know what their motivations are? They're Disney's motivations. Because you see they got in trouble this week too? Disney? With the
Disney
Aladdin movie?
No, what
Oh.
What?
So their Aladdin movie, the live action version they're making now, right?
Yeah.
They were under fire for casting to start with over their leads because everyone, and I agree, feels that the leads should be ethnically correct.
Yep.
You should find Middle Eastern talent to play your leads here,
Yep.
right? And they did that. Good. But the extras...
Not a lot of blue-skinned people out there, though.
No, but your extras.
Oh, no. Did they?
They tanned up a bunch of white people as extras.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Disney.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't know. But that happened.
Oh.
Kind of a bad look for Disney.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know,
a little bit.
You know,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about this, but it just strikes me as... I don't know. I hope they find amazing talent, and I hope that they are paid handsomely for it. I'm just questioning Marvel's real motives here. They're making it sound altruistic when ultimately it's like, yeah, you don't want to pay anybody. Hence your talent drain to begin with.
Their talent train's been going on for a while now.
Yeah, you know, I admittedly, I'm
after Bendis, what names do
Jason
they have
Aaron's
over
still there, but for how long?
Yeah.
You know, dude, it's for everything I say about I'm more of a Marvel guy. I admit that. I don't hate DC. I'm just not as into their stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say, man, at least they seem to value their talent.
Yeah.
A lot. At least that's how it seems to me, because they still have quite a bit of top flight talent working for them there.
Yeah. Jim Lee, John Romita Jr., Bendis now.
Yep.
I know you're not so much fan, but Jeff Johns.
Well, he's been there forever. I don't like, he doesn't even register for me because he's just like a company guy. But Morrison's still working over there, you know? Like, not regularly, but he's still got projects in the pipeline.
Yeah. So, and they're creating new characters. There's a whole new line of new books coming out. Like, when's the last time Marvel or DC went like headlong into creating new characters. And we've said the biggest problem both these companies have had over the past 20 years is they don't want to pay creator rights.
Right.
Like
right.
DC will bring in top flight creators and say, here's our stuff to work on, but they won't necessarily let them create new stuff. Now that seems to be shifting. So, I mean, I'm glad. I mean, it freshens up your roster. It, gives you potentially new characters that can catch on. And we don't lose anything by allowing creativity.
No, but the publishers might lose, a portion of their money. So we can't have that now. Can't have that. Was it Jack Kirby who said comics will break your heart? Was that him who said that?
I think there's a lot of people.
Or was it Steve Ditko? One of them. Comics will break your heart.
Yeah, comics is one of those things that you really don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Well, unless you're reading Image Comics, then it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
These guys are getting paid. I'm buying their book and supporting them directly. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, didn't want to get too down in the dumps there. What else we got for the news here?
Otherwise in the news, we have a news story came out today and like a couple other things here and there. Fox is still currently actively developing X-Men films.
And their Doctor Doom film, allegedly.
Yeah. Now, one thing we've been talking about the past couple weeks is Disney acquisition of Fox. And granted, this acquisition is not going to be an overnight thing. It's got a whole rigmarole of stuff it's got to go through before it's finalized. So
people seem to be confused, though, because how Americans, our attention span is this big. And I'm making a very small gesture right now. When they hear the Fox deal is done, it's done. Yeah. So now, I mean, you hear Fox is working on a Kitty Pryde movie and their Doctor Doom movie, and you think, wait, I thought Marvel.
Yeah, no, this stuff takes time, folks.
Yeah, and until it's all approved, I'm just going to assume Fox is going to be business as usual until the ink is dotted or the ink is dry on the contracts.
Think of it this way: it's kind of like buying a car. You go through all the negotiations, and then you finally agree on a price. And it's once you agree on the price, you don't just sign the paper, they hand you the keys, and you leave.
No, there's a big stack of papers.
A whole bunch of other stuff you got to go through. This is that to the supreme nth degree.
Yeah.
So
you got to wait in line at the DMV.
Yeah.
You got to get plates.
Yep. Like
it's a whole thing.
I get finishing the stuff you're working on and putting it out there and just like making what you can off it. And granted, as much as the quality is dipped, well, I shouldn't say dipped, I should say head dived with a couple rare exceptions, it's going to be kind of sad to see this X universe go, because this is kind of was instrumental in starting everything that we're enjoying right now.
It was, but I've been ready for it to kind of, why? Here's the thing. Here's why I'm okay with it. Because I feel like they've given the X-Men films like 3 send-offs already.
Yeah.
Like X-Men 3, terrible movie, but it felt like it had a finality, right? Like, this is how it ends. They cliffhangered it still, but like it still was like, the end of the trilogy in my trilogy focused brain as a Star Wars kid. Mm-hmm. That's over. Then they did not First Class, the one after that
was Origins.
No. In the X-Men films, not the solo ones. So like
it was First Class.
That not the one after that. Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past. That one felt like a final piece too for our original cast.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, we're fixing all the crap we screwed up.
Right. And you know who I really didn't... I'm sorry, but maybe it's just a matter of me seeing the original X-Men movies, but like, I don't feel like they introduced the new team in First Class and Days of Future Past to any degree where I care what happens to any of them. Michael Fassbender's cool. James McAvoy's cool, but no Cyclops, no Iceman, like these characters are just they're not.
Yeah.
They were there, but were they?
went
Like,
back,
I don't
but
care.
You can argue they went back a little too far.
Well, they focused it on the wrong people. Like, I'm sorry, but Mystique is not central to my X-Men movie.
Yeah, no, Mystique should
Sorry,
not be
no.
central to any X-Men story.
Right. And that's just so, like, I feel like they've been kind of giving us this closure for like 5 years now, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Logan was a good place to end.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a good place to just kind of say, yeah, we're good here.
But there's money to be made, and X-Men's licensed to print money, so we're going to keep making them. And I guess Kitty Pryde?
Tell me your story, and I'll, let's see what you got. But whatever, I don't know.
I mean,
will Lockheed be in it?
They did the character no favors in X-Men 3.
No.
Which is sad, because I think Ellen Page was a good casting call for Kitty Pryde at that point in the character's life.
Sure.
I think there's potential for a good Kitty Pryde movie, but I don't think there's potential in the type of X-Men movie they're used to telling. You have to really kind of go with where your new philosophy has been, where, okay, let's make something that's different. Logan's an old Western road trip movie.
Yeah.
New Mutants is apparently a horror story.
Right.
Deadpool's a high meta comedy.
I think that's probably what they got in mind for Kitty Pryde.
I hope so.
But my question is that going to get put into development and released by the time that the Fox takeover is done?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's weird, strange. And Doctor Doom movie, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Just stop.
You've shown 3 times now that you do not know how to handle this character.
The only way I want to see Doctor Doom on the screen is him strutting in glorious fashion in Infinity War post-credit stinger or something to that effect. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I had for news.
Yeah, I'm good. Not like you said. There's just not really a lot happening, but things will heat up as we get towards spring and summer. With the things are happening.
It's January. Everyone's just kind of like
we're all fat from
tired.
Christmas. We're trying to hit the gym and shake off the cobwebs and whatnot.
Yep.
So
that.
Do we have time to discuss Daredevil?
Oh yeah, of course we do.
The show's central conceit.
Yeah. We know we have not been good about talking about Mr. Murdoch in the comic book form. So we're.
Are you caught up?
I'm caught up. Yeah.
New issue lands tomorrow, but the past 2 issues, folks.
Can I see them just for a refresher, please?
You can. We don't got to go through them verbatim. I just want to discuss them overall.
Yeah.
So as we know, in the current Daredevil Marvel continuity, Matt is no longer a defense attorney. He is a New York district attorney.
Assistant
District attorney. He has just returned from China after having to rescue Blind Spot from a goblin monster in the hand. And it was pretty weird, wild stuff. But he's been gone a while. He's been out of the city for a while. So, he comes back.
Oh, how things have changed.
Oh, my. Have they?
Yep. New York City's got a new mayor. And it's not J. Jonah Jameson again.
No, and it's not Norman Osborn, because didn't that happen? Well, no, maybe not. That wasn't mayor. That was S.H.I.E.L.D.
He was the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., which he turned into Hammer.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
No, folks. Matt comes back to New York, and in his absence, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, is now the mayor of New York City. What?
2 years ago, I've been like, what? Nobody elects this guy into public office. Although now looking at it, I'd be like, if I had a choice between Wilson Fisk for president and Donald Trump for president,
well, the thing
I'm voting Wilson Fisk 6 days a week and twice on Sunday.
Ironically, Carl, the way they explain it is quite Trump-esque.
Yeah,
is it not?
It's this. These books are, again, their writer Charles Soule is doing an awesome job on Daredevil. These are pretty. Things are going really good for this title. It's one of the few Marvel titles that I can readily recommend.
So Fisk snuck in and dodged how many of those charges stuck over time? Apparently none.
Yeah.
And I have a vision for this. He played up to the crowd, and
Yep.
and it's it's the world outside your window, as Marvel likes to say. Pretty wild. But specifically in the book, where it gets interesting is Fisk. So catching you up, Daredevil, Matt Murdock, I should say, argued in front of the Supreme Court of the United States and won he got a ruling that basically said superheroes in masks did not have to reveal their identities, but their testimony could be used in court against criminals.
Which is huge.
Massive ramifications in the Marvel Universe. I mean, just think about what that would be like in real life. Well, Fisk once again, ran on a campaign of superheroes are bad, and they break stuff, and they trash the joint, and they make us live in fear, and they wear masks, and we have no recourse over it. So Matt comes back. That's Fisk's platform. He is the mayor. People are actually behind him. Matt can't believe that people are behind him. But when he's preaching that, Matt's faith in the public gets a little soured. But his assistant kind of, remember she has that line where she kind of spells it out. Like, hey, look, I used to like superheroes too. Till one day, I used to have a car. I used to drive around the city. I used to get out of the city, and I used to, go to the mountains and do stuff. Then one day, Spider-Man took my car and wrapped it around the Rhino. And I didn't have a car anymore. And I couldn't sue Spider-Man for my car.
Yeah.
So
I can only imagine what insurance premiums are on a car in New York City in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. Much less real estate, much less. It's crazy. It's craziness. So you can kind of see how
there's a point to be made in the argument.
Sure. And to make matters worse, Fisk, as the mayor, appoints Matt Murdock as his chief. He wants him to head up an investigation against Daredevil.
Yeah. Now,
to make matters worse, Matt Daredevil, as Daredevil, goes to visit the mayor. It's like, how did you pull this off? What's wrong? You're not going to get away with this.
Yeah.
And of
Matt's
course,
in denial of what happened. He thinks this is a Fisk scheme, that Fisk manipulated the vote somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, it's this Fisk won.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
And Matt
Can't handle
does
it.
exactly what Fisk wanted him to do.
He goes to Fisk's office and doesn't necessarily attack him, but it's kind of
He does enough.
He does enough to get people to think that he attacked him. And now Daredevil is public enemy number one in New York.
Yeah.
And they send out the full weight of the New York Police Department to get him.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, the villain, what's his name? The creepy guy who blinded Blindspot?
Oh, Muse.
He has escaped from prison.
Yes. Apparently he was just in prison because it kind of suited his purposes. He was just kind of hanging out there because,
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, because he
Also-
escaped with relative ease.
And, mind you, because things just get worse and worse,
Yeah.
or at least more interesting. Keep in mind, Matt's identity is back under wraps in
Yes.
the Marvel U. So Kingpin doesn't know that he's Daredevil.
Or does he?
It's unclear, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
He doesn't. At least not yet. Talk about a cliffhanger for part 3 of this run.
Yeah.
Fisk, in the midst of Daredevil being on the run and
Yep.
wanting Matt Murdock to do this to lead this investigation and lead the charge and all this stuff. Matt knows what Fisk is up to, or well, he thinks he does anyway. He doesn't want to be. They're enemies.
Yeah.
Fisk calls him and says, I hope you can really do me a solid on this whole investigation thing. Hey, by the way, will you be my deputy mayor?
Yeah.
And Matt says yes.
Yeah. Matt doesn't think
To be
about
continued.
it for nearly long enough. I think this is going to go down as one of Matt's rash decisions that doesn't go out the way he hopes it will.
This is one of those moments in Daredevil. Daredevil's given me a lot of these moments over the years through various writers.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments where I was just like, oh, what? And like mind blown. Whoa. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing, buddy?
Come on. No. He went and
This
did it.
I'm intrigued.
Yep.
And I can't wait for the next issue.
Yeah, it's a really good run. Are you caught up on Defenders?
No.
Dude, God, Defenders is just as good.
I gotta get on that. Sorry.
All right. So that's
the
Daredevil comic aspect. Now we've got another friend to revisit. So now it's time, as we've had a couple weeks of, winter and celebrating New Year's and the holidays and whatnot.
And Star Wars.
Which, thank you for those of you who have given us compliments on that episode. I've heard from numerous of you that is our best episode yet. Maybe we should just switch to a Star Wars podcast.
No, I wouldn't last long.
I don't think we would last long doing that show together.
Not ready for that.
Because our views differ significantly on, and we'd be like one of 5,000.
I'm good.
We're
good.
We're good. Alrighty. So it's time to revisit our old friend Frank and rustle some papers. I like yours better than mine.
I like yours better. I like the crinkle. The page flipping is not quite as effective.
It's reminiscent of the old Marvel intro to the films before it got...
Yeah. They still use it on TV.
Yeah, they do, which is nice.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Like it.
Episode
3.
Punisher. 3, Kandahar. The Punisher.
We're back in Punisher form.
We're back, and we're getting very Punisher-y. So my first note here is, wake up, Micro.
It is a literal cold open.
Yes.
As in a bucket of cold water is thrown onto Micro. I'm seeing a little too much of Micro here, by the way.
A little, but fortunately not way too much.
No. But
Micro's naked and wire tied to a chair.
Today, naked and afraid. Micro. Yeah. So, Frank's getting his interrogation on, because last time we met, dear listeners, we have to, reminisce here. Frank captures Micro in the previous episode. So
yes.
Here we are now. He's got him.
He stuck in his trunk.
Yeah.
He was the junk in Micro's trunk.
Wow. That took a turn. Now he's naked.
So now, So now Frank's in Micro's hideout. Apparently Micro does not have a can opener. Frank just going to use his knife.
That's Frank just being
Frank.
Yeah. He's showing off is all that is. Because this is all about intimidation and, Yeah, he's striking some fear into him. He wants to know who he is and why he's been following Frank around and whatnot. So that's kind of the gist of the episode in a way. Like, it's mostly the power dynamic between the two of them, trying to get them to trust each other.
Yeah.
And we're going to see in this episode their kind of common origins in a way.
Yep.
And why they should help each other. Carl.
What's up?
Did the showrunner of The Punisher go on a little lost bender and then write this episode?
As far as like flashbacks go?
That, sure.
We are accustomed to flashbacks in these shows.
But then there's the whole, I got to enter a code in the computer every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or else explosions.
That's probably prior to when I
Is Desmond on a treadmill
Lost.
Back there running around? Like,
I didn't start watching Lost till like when Julie and I started dating. She was big into Lost.
Okay.
Like, I had heard of it, but I wasn't watching it.
Yeah.
And
so the Hatch, you don't know?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Oh,
I think it was like the last 2, maybe 3 seasons.
Oh, you watched it after it was already done. After it got bad, but the first couple seasons are some of the best TV maybe ever. I'm not exaggerating. It's if you don't know where they went with it and you were just watching it live,
yeah,
I know because I lived it.
Yeah.
What? I gotta watch another one. like it riveted you to your seat.
Well,
there was a whole season where they literally spent down in the hatch every I forgot, every X amount of minutes, I forgot the number. They had to enter numbers in their computer and push enter, or else the world would explode. And here Micro's got the same thing.
Okay.
So I made a note. Is this a lost, Are we on the island here?
Julie asks me every once in a while if I want to go back and watch the series from the beginning. I'm like, I really don't, because I know what the ending is. I think with a show like that, if you know what the ending is, it takes...
Here's the thing. The ending stinks. And it doesn't really make sense compared to what they set up in those first few seasons. It doesn't make a lot of sense at all.
I don't remember having...
It's a shame. It's a shame is what it is. It's one of the great misses in television. It's one of the things that... You know how people think that I have this real cynical attitude?
Gee, Drew, why would they think that?
Well...
There's no evidence to support that at all.
Here's why. Because I watched Lost. And I watched Battlestar Galactica. And I lived through the Star Wars prequels. And I'm mad about it. That's why. That's why. Meanwhile, in The Punisher, though. Let us not dwell on that stuff.
Yeah.
So it turns out that Micro's origins were basically, he was the analyst who...
He was an NSA analyst.
Right. And he came across a video from Kandahar.
Yep.
That we saw in the end of Daredevil Season 2 when Frank finds the disc with Micro written on it. And the video that Agent Madani is aware of in her introduction in the series so far. Here in this episode, we see Micro is the one who sends it to her. And in doing so, gets himself in a whole bunch of trouble.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, we pretty much get Micro's origin story in this episode.
Yes, we do.
How does this compare to Micro in the comics?
Not the same.
Okay.
Like everything else. I am blanking a little bit on Micro's exact origins. All I remember about Micro's origins in the comics were his son was killed. So his son was actually killed, giving him a much more direct kind of tie to Frank. Here, his family's alive.
Yeah.
But he is considered dead to them, and he's kind of using that as a sort of... He's saying essentially that they're the same. Like, my family's gone too, I can't see them, they think I'm dead, your family's gone, we're the same. Frank out in this episode several times is like, no, dude.
No.
Hang on, I'm pulling this up just so we're clear on his bio here. He was a computer hacker in the early days of the computer business. He performed scams and hacks. But he got a little too close to real-world criminals, forcing him to go into retirement. However, his nephew, attempting to follow in his footsteps, was caught and killed after accidentally hacking into a private computer of the Kingpin.
Ooh, yeah.
While investigating his nephew's murder, that is when Micro started collaborating with the Punisher. And therein, went their collaboration throughout the 90s and whatnot. And it ended badly in the Max series. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I think I remember. I think that's one of the arcs that I read.
It's the very first arc.
Yeah.
It's called In the Beginning.
Gotcha.
Good stuff.
What
Anyway,
do you? Granted, I just finished the season yesterday.
I'm not done yet.
You are almost.
I know, I'm glacial
to the end. But from what you've seen so far, is there a interpretation that you kind of find yourself favoring more, this version or the comic version?
I rather like this version, actually.
Yeah.
He's an interesting character, and I think the guy who's playing him is doing a great job, actually.
Yeah.
He bounces off of Frank well, and he plays his character very well. So I will forgive him for not being a fat guy. Because he's doing a good job.
We're okay with you being in shape and not stereotypic computer nerd.
Right.
We're okay with you being
not
being Dennis Nedry.
Oh, that would just be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Now I want to see that version where it is Dennis Nedry. It's literally Dennis Nedry.
Castle. We got Castle here.
So
Castle. Nobody cares.
That'd be fun. Anyway, So yeah, he sends the video to Madani.
Yeah.
And that gets him pinched by the feds.
Is Madani in the comics?
No.
Okay.
No. She's just another, confidant.
For the show.
The comics frequently have these kind of characters, though, like people who work within the system that are either
sympathetic to Frank,
either hunting him or are sympathetic, or through hunting him become sympathetic. Yeah. So that is a common thing. But here's my question, though. Maybe it was explained in the series and I missed it. He sends the video to Madani. The feds go after him. They shoot him, and he's presumed dead.
Yep.
Why didn't they go after her? Or is that part of the reason why she's assigned where she's assigned in the first episode, and I'm blanking?
I think where that's touched on the first episode is when Wolf, the C. Thomas Howell character, tells her that she is here, but she is not to pursue Kandahar.
Okay.
She's garnered a reputation for trying to track down what happened.
Just seems like if they're willing to go after him, why not bust her too?
He's probably easier to make look like a traitor.
Because of his techie...
Yeah.
Okay. I'll roll with that.
I had a little bit of a problem with a cell phone stopping a bullet.
Yeah. That's some major Gorilla Glass there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I dropped my phone on the ground a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Face down.
Yeah.
And ain't stopping no bullets, sir. that guy shattered. Something fierce. Good thing I got insurance. They sent me a new one overnight. But anyway, yeah, the phone saved his life, huh? So, we get the flashbacks with Frank too, in his Black Ops unit, and oh boy, are they Black Ops, Carl! Like, this is down and dirty stuff.
Yeah.
Now, this is where we get into, like, Frank's origins and how it kind of differs from the comics. And I know it can't all be the same.
Yeah, we go deeper into Frank's military background than what we were told in Daredevil Season 2, which at the end of this episode, we see the events that Schoonover described in Daredevil Season 2.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, we see the birth of the Punisher.
Kind of.
Not so, but like... You see the birth of what... How can I describe this?
What I see is Frank's penchant for violence, and he's really good at it.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a Marine. They do things very well. They do what they're trained to do very well. But yeah, this is a super Black Ops squad. It's basically just a hit squad.
Yeah.
And Billy Russo's in it with him.
Sure is. And they call him Billy the Beaut at one point, too. I like that. That's clever.
Nice little
I've come around as I've watched this show. I know we started off tepid on this show.
Yeah.
Now that I'm deeper into it, and I'm rewatching the early episodes so I can get my notes ready for the show here, I've come around on it a lot.
I'm going to be interested to see what your reaction to the ending is.
Okay. The more I watch it and take it in, and the more into the middle of the season you get when things start to really escalate and the players kind of become the players, this is I might have said this before, it becomes a very much Garth Ennis style yarn about power and about people who have it and abuse it, and old war hawks who use the system to their advantage and go away untouched, and
because I think
Frank's place in that, and there, that's Ennis touches on that a lot.
If you give us just 13 episodes of kind of Frank being Frank, just like a overblown action shoot 'em up every episode, I don't think you get as good a series.
No,
I think you get a series with some moments in it, but ultimately doesn't.
No, it can't just be 13 episodes of him killing muggers, right? Yeah. But I guess I think not secretly, maybe not so secretly at all, a lot of us Punisher fans, we just want that Slavers arc to be put into a show.
I don't think I've read that one. It's a lot of exhaling you did there, my friend.
It's whoa. Yeah. That
All right.
one might. Yeah, read that one.
Okay.
It's vicious.
Yeah. I do like in the flashback scenes, which there's a balance in this episode. It's kind of half present day, half flashbacks.
Yep.
I do like the one-liner callback to the movie Full Metal Jacket.
Go on.
When Billy Russo says, "Sir, does this mean Anne Margaret's not coming?" I laughed at that.
That was cool. Yeah.
What can I tell you? One thing I really didn't like about this movie and
This episode?
this episode and in the series as a whole, and it's not for any legitimate story reasons. It's much more for personal reasons. Is the character of O'Connor?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because he's the NRA.
Yeah,
jerk,
the
right?
Vietnam vet.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
I don't like him. I don't like the way this show does.
It wants to say something about.
It does an amazing job of describing the modern day struggles of veterans.
Yeah,
It does an excellent job. It says a lot of things that need to be said.
Sure. What's O'Connor's? What's his deal?
I don't like that he's the sole representative of a Vietnam veteran because.
But he wasn't even a Vietnam veteran. They find out late. Spoilers for later episodes.
Yeah, I know.
He's a liar.
But I mean, before we know that, but as the son of a Vietnam veteran who had PTSD,
yeah.
Again, it's a personal reason. Every time he's on screen, I don't.
See,
I don't mind him. I wouldn't mind him if there wasn't another Vietnam veteran who kind of
balance
better.
It out a little.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a personal criticism, and I'm not gonna. I can't argue with that. My problem with his character, though, is like he's this bitter veteran, right?
Yeah.
He's going to these support group meetings, but he's not there for any other reason than to like peddle Second Amendment pamphlets. Like,
yeah, I mean,
cares,
we see
dude?
later on. I thought they were kind of
talking about?
setting him up as sort of a recruiter for a large organization, but it turns out he's not even that. And this is something
we'll get
that we
into
get
later,
to
but
way down the road.
Yeah, I just don't know what's your point, man? And then by extension, what's the show trying to say? That I don't get it. He's a jerk, but he's an NRA nut, and he thinks that the world's the country's problems have to do with gun rights or lack thereof, and that's why these guys have PTSD. What?
He's a representation of a voice that's out there.
I get that, but
it's not a voice we necessarily want to listen to. But
it's not even that. It's the context in this episode where he drops that pamphlet on Lewis. Lewis just Lewis is
he's
a heavy character, right? So Lewis is in the meeting.
Can I say this?
Yeah,
Lewis, and maybe because the time of year, holidays and whatnot, that I did the majority of watching of this show. Lewis is hard to watch.
Yeah,
because he's so well done. It's hard to watch Lewis and not have your heart break because there are so many veterans out there who are just like him.
Possibly.
And who are legitimately hurting and who are legitimately being ignored by the system.
Yeah. And I guess my problem is he goes through this, he relays all of that. He relays his feelings and how he doesn't know who he's fighting for, and he relays the story that some Pat Tillman kind of similarities here, where someone that got killed it was a friendly fire incident, and the media relations people in the Army said that it was a car bomb, or they said he was killed in action or whatever, and he knew it was a lie, and he thought it was wrong, and so he's opening up about his distrust of the system, of the military that lied.
Yeah.
And then here's O'Connor to give him a pamphlet about being a gun owner. What does one have to do with the other? I
think O'Connor just sees someone who can be easily swayed because they're so
maybe
uncertain.
That's it. But I get it.
What
to me, it's just clumsy writing.
What is O'Connor swaying him to? I think O'Connor works better if he's recruiting for a larger organization.
Sure.
Something you want to set up for season 2, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, okay.
It ultimately just doesn't pay off.
It doesn't
from
pay
that
off.
perspective of it. There's some payoff for it, but
Yeah.
from the payoff you think it's going to be, there is none.
Yeah, and again, I just feel like it's the show trying to make a statement on that kind of person. Not the Vietnam veteran, but the gun nutty kind of guy. But I don't know what it's saying. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's taking a stance. It's just he's just a jerk, and he happens to like love guns, and he's like in this meeting yelling about it for no reason.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't need this guy around. But anyway, so I love some of my notes. I'm sorry. Frank is the tables turn a bit in Frank and Micro's position. Micro is very crafty and drugs Frank while he's trying to put the code in or whatever, and escapes his little predicament. Sorry, Frank.
And I think that I really like the line that Micro has towards the end of the episode when he's trying to convince Frank that Frank needs him as much as he needs Frank. He's like, you got taken out by a spook wire tied to a chair. And he's like, I'm not even good at this or anything. So, it's shows you that Frank still has some shortcomings.
He's a hothead. Well, I mean, obviously. Or, well, actually, we're kind of talking broadly about the episode. This episode is interesting because two people basically tell Frank that he's nothing but an instrument to be used.
Yeah.
Agent Orange, who says, I point, you shoot,
to
him. And then Micro later on, who says, you're a blunt instrument. You need a guidance system. Interesting.
Micro's way is a little more finesse.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
I mean, when Frank does what he gets to do, he does it very well.
Yeah.
But like the way Micro put it is much better.
More eloquent.
And Frank didn't punch his eye out of his socket either.
Yeah.
Which he does to Agent Orange. What's the character's name again?
So far I don't know his actual name. They've probably said it, but I'm just calling him Agent Orange for now. Yeah, Frank doesn't take kindly to that mission that he said would go wrong when it went wrong.
Yeah.
And does it go wrong?
Yeah. It's the mission that was described in the trial scene in Daredevil Season 2. We have Clancy Brown back again as Colonel Schoonover. Always good to see Clancy Brown.
I love Clancy Brown.
Great. But yeah, we see Frank.
He goes full Frank.
He gives birth to what will eventually lead him to be the Punisher.
Basically, he
like takes
grisly kills many folk.
Yeah.
And then, you know why he did it? Because he had to go home to see Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, gotta get to the boss.
Can I talk about that for a moment?
We got against Bruce Springsteen, Drew.
A lot, but most specifically, without my personal taste aside, she mailed him the ticket.
You know what? I had a problem with that too.
Thank you.
I had a problem with that too. A photocopy, sure, a picture, but yeah, no.
Those are not refundable, man.
No, and Bruce Springsteen show probably isn't cheap.
Right. Thank you. See? You thought I was going somewhere else, but see?
Yeah, but I'm sure if I asked you what your opinions on Bruce Springsteen were, I'm sure they'd be overwhelmingly negative.
I don't need them.
You could just say it's not your cup of tea. You don't have to crap on it.
Good job, Bruce. He did give us Courtney Cox. I'm not sure if we should hold that against him or not, but
Sir, credit where credit is due. Masters of the Universe gave us Courtney Cox.
I think the video predates that movie, actually.
Yeah, but at that point, she was just a chick in a video. Masters of the Universe gave her
Alicia Silverstone at one point.
No, she was in Clueless before those Aerosmith videos.
Oh, she was the Aerosmith girl prior to Clueless, man.
I don't know about that.
I do know, because I was a fan back in the day, sir.
I saw Aerosmith
before she
on that tour.
went nuts and fed her kids like a bird. She got weird. She became one of those people.
I think she's better now.
I don't know. Maybe. And then Batgirl, which was just tragic.
That wasn't her fault.
I mean, no,
Paycheck.
but she was there, you know.
Paycheck. If I pay you what she was paid, you dress up in that same suit and act in the same
Would
way.
I?
You would.
Anyway, that's really the gist of the episode. We leave off with Frank and Micro coming to an agreement, and Frank says, like, here's the rules. I'm going to kill them all. Period.
Micro's like, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yep. That's where we're at. That's our episode, more or less.
The show is definitely getting much better. Like I said, we were a little sketchy on it for the first episode or two. But I think I believe business really picks up next episode.
It starts to pick up pretty quickly from here, actually.
Yeah.
We get to see, well, no spoilers, but yeah, we get to see some tactical Frank. We get to see some good comic booky Punisher stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it starts off, I was unsure, and now I'm in the juicy middle, and it's like, okay, I'm okay with where this is kind of going, and they're not making Frank too sympathetic and sentimental, which I was worried about. There's a little there, but not as much as I had feared just yet.
I think what they've done with Frank and what they do in the following episodes, when you're thinking of it strictly from a comic book sense, is not great, but in the structure of the show and this universe that they've built over these other shows, it works.
Yeah, so far. I do, and again, I'm going to have to see how this ends, but I do have a slight reservation about Frank's character and motivations going forward. But I guess we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yep.
So, but overall, I am actually enjoying this show. So yeah, I take back a lot of the things I said about it. I've kind of settled into it, and I do think it's taking, like I said, it's got some Garth Ennis-isms to it that I appreciate, and I'm digging.
Crazy, I think this show came out in November. We're only on episode 3 of it.
We had things.
Holiday seasons,
things are going on, man. All right.
Alrighty. That wraps it up for us. Dear listeners, thank you very much for joining us again. We appreciate it. If you would like to reach out to us, ask us any questions, make some suggestions for the show, send us large portions of money, sure, why not? You can find us at the following locations. You can find us on Twitter at DevilsDoPod. You can go to Facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Drew, any closing thoughts?
I saw a really great meme today, and I shared it on my Facebook wall. Have you seen the car speeding on the off ramp with the road sign meme? There's a lot of great ones out there, and I appreciate them. But the one that I saw today, which was basically like, "Yup, that's the one." It's the highway going straight, WWE. The off ramp that the car is veering towards at a breakneck pace, NJPW. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Make good choices in life, people.
That's right. NewJapanWorld.com. NJPWWorld.com.
Thanks for joining us. Court's adjourned.